G'day, it's Corky here, freedom fighter extraordinaire. I've been around a fair bit. But there's something that's come to my mind which needs to be passed on. No matter what you believe, whether or not you believe that there's climate change caused by man, or whether it's some other external or natural forces, who knows, but there is one reality, and that is that no matter what, there are going to continue to be big catastrophes, big disasters and big things that happen in our world, from nature and from man. And somehow we have to do something about trying to control that, or if we can't control it, at least being able to react in a sensible, positive way. There was a man once, and he said, "I have a dream." So do I. My dream is the IMCF, International Military Constructive Forces. Who would want to join the army right now, or any of the military forces, given the history of what military is? In the Middle East in particular, we're sending people, young men back home and ladies with the same kind of mental damage and physical damage that happened to them in places like Vietnam, Korea as well. But there's one thing the military can do, and we've seen that a number of times, particularly during the Great Wars, and that's what we're up against now, a war of a sort, where no matter what nationality you were, whether you're Polish or English, Canadian, Italian eventually, or any of the others, from both sides even, they managed to combine together to do a job as a combined group, no matter the differences in their cultures or their races or their language, because of the way the military is. It's the way they're trained. So can you imagine if instead of our military forces from around the world being focused on a destructive purpose, it was instead focused on a constructive purpose? They have the ability, they have the training, they have the equipment, they have machinery designed to be able to construct bridges, all sorts of things. Navies have aircraft carriers which can create enormous amounts of fresh H2O by desalinating seawater. We're going to have times in the future, like we have in the more recent past, a place like the Gulf of Texas where an oil head snapped off under the water, or the earthquake in Haiti, the earthquake in Christchurch, or a tsunami that wiped out a nuclear plant, Fukushima. Each of those times everybody sat back and sort of went, "Oh, what do we do?" And it was a very disorganised response to it, including Florida, America. Had the army been responded to it straight away, things would have been completely different. Fukushima needed fresh water. Why weren't all the military or naval aircraft carriers and vessels around the world sent to it? Fresh water, lots and lots and lots of it. What about Christchurch? Why weren't we there? Why weren't military forces there? We've got helicopters, we've got landing craft, we've got men equipped with all sorts of apparatus, breathing apparatus, lifting apparatus, pushing apparatus, digging apparatus. We should have been there. Military forces in a constructive sense. At the moment, the morale of the military is pretty sad. I can imagine if the military was focused on a constructive focus, then it would be different. People would probably want to join the military in droves. But there's something else as well, you know. There's a change in our society, a big change. We've got people now, young people, who are coming up with fractured family life, multiple fathers, all sorts of societal problems. And without a guidance, they're coming out like bent arrows from a weak bow. It's not their fault, but it is, because everyone has intrinsically the knowledge of what's right or wrong, but some of them get caught into a trap or into a path. And they finish up in front of a court because they've done something wrong, or they've done multiple things wrong. So my challenge to the courts then is, we have an international military constructive force, and some young chap has been caught for something that's not murder, but another serious or non-serious event, and the magistrate goes, "Young fella, you've got 4 years in jail." Or I'll give you another option. You can do 2 years compulsory service in the International Military Constructive Forces. You take it. You pick the one you like. I got a funny feeling there'd be a fair few young fellas that'd go, and ladies, who'd go and join the IMCF. And do you know what I reckon? I reckon that once they'd done that, they'd probably be, for the first time in their life, proud of who they are and what they've done. They would be learning discipline that they missed out on before. They'd be creating positive friends that they haven't had a chance to make before. There'd be something constructive in the world that they would be, in a world that they would want to be a part of. And so I'll give you the IMCF. Now, I've got a part 3. Part 3, Thunderbirds are go. When the poop hits the fan and something's happened, it seems to me to make a lot of sense to be able to have something like we saw in the 1960s as a bunch of puppets on strings, where you can coordinate things, get there quickly and find out what's happened and find out what kind of response is required. Thunderbirds are go. This is something very expensive, and I don't think governments can do it, because governments are governments full of bureaucrats and slow red tape. But there is a group of people who can do it. Mr. Gates, Gina Reinhardt, Mr. Palmer, Don Trump, all you multi-millionaires out there with shitloads of money. This is your chance. Thunderbirds on the southern hemisphere, Thunderbirds in the northern hemisphere. Thunderbirds are go. It needs to be constructed, it needs to be funded, and it needs to be able to react instantly and report back instantly. That's the kind of thing you guys can do. And then you've left your world with a positive mark. You've said, that's what I did with my money, and that's the work of my life, which is left behind like this. And you too then have a constructive focus and a constructive memory rather than a negative one. So ladies and gentlemen, the world, President Obama, every president in the world, every bureaucrat in the world, every person in the world, please, I'm begging you, IMCF, International Military Constructive Forces. Cheers for now, it's Corky. The button.